Welcome to The Explainer. So I want you to picture this guy, Amit. He's 26, works in IT, and honestly, on paper, he has completely made it. He earns a great salary, his parents are super proud, and if you look at his LinkedIn profile, he looks like a massive success. But inside, Amit feels this terrifying emptiness. Picture him sitting at his desk, it's 9 p.m., he's just been handed yet another urgent task, and he's just staring blankly at an Excel sheet while watching a travel vlogger on his phone. He's just feeling completely numb.
So let me ask you, does Amit's story hit a little too close to home? Do you ever find yourself sitting in traffic, endlessly playing games on your commute, just kind of waiting for the weekend in this never-ending cycle of quiet desperation? If you're sitting there asking yourself, am I literally just working until I die? I really want to reassure you right now, you are absolutely not alone. And no, this is not a personal failing. Actually, what's really wild is the sheer scale of this problem. A massive 2024 Gallup survey across 160 countries found that a staggering 77% of workers globally are totally disengaged from their jobs. Like they're either quietly quitting or just actively miserable. And if you zoom in on South Asia, engagement drops to just 21%. Think about that. 8 out of 10 people are dragging themselves to places they literally do not want to be.
So, in today's Explainer, we're going to fix this. We'll start with the numbness and the EMI trap, then we'll debunk the myth of passion, explore the science of flow and grit, dive into the 3E action plan, and finally, look at building your Ikigai. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. The Golden Cage, Systemic Traps and Lack of Exposure. You see, before we can break out, we have to understand the cage we're actually in. Society sets up this golden cage for us super early. It's what we call the EMI prison. For a guy Amit, it started with expensive coaching centers at age 16, right? That inevitably leads to massive student loans. Then once you finally get a job to pay off those loans, FOMO kicks in hard. You see your peers traveling or buying cool things, so boom, you take out a car loan. Then comes the 20-year home loan, and surrounded by this toxic hustle culture that tells you working 70-hour weeks is some sort of badge of honor, you become completely locked in. Your salary is entirely eaten up by EMIs. Financially speaking, you literally cannot afford to quit.
So the really crucial point here is that we get trapped in these jobs, mostly because we simply don't know what else is out there. Did you know there are over 12,000 recognized career categories globally? 12,000! Yet the average student is only ever exposed to maybe 10 or 15 of them. You know, the classics. Engineer, doctor, lawyer, accountant. If you don't know what your passion is, trust me, it's not your fault. You just haven't been exposed to the other 11,985 options.
This absolute lack of exposure is the real problem. Researcher David Epstein actually looked at world-class performers, people like Roger Federer and MS Dhoni. And guess what? They didn't start out hyper-focused on just one sport. No, they played everything: basketball, badminton, football. They had this massive sampling period. Epstein notes that while early specializers might look successful initially, it's the late specializers who win in the long run. Why? Because they actually took the time to discover their true interests through good old-fashioned trial and error.
Section 2. Debunking the follow your passion myth. So, if we know we need to explore, we first need to completely change how we think about passion itself. Get ready for a huge paradigm shift here. We are constantly told to look inside and follow your passion. But a landmark 2018 Stanford University study actually proved this is terrible advice. People like Amit get totally stuck in a fixed mindset, basically believing passion is this hidden treasure buried deep inside them, just waiting to be dug up. But the science shows passion is actually a growth mindset concept. Think of passion as a plant. It literally does not exist until you plant the seed, water it, develop skills, and cultivate it. It absolutely does not magically fall from the sky.
Section 3. The Science of Fulfillment, Flow and Grit.
Okay, so if passion is a plant, what exactly is the water and sunlight? How do we actually grow this thing? Well, it all comes down to two scientifically proven psychological states. To understand this, let's look at the story of a baker named Neha. Neha was a 34-year-old mom who always dreamed of being a chef. One day she baked a cake for her son. A neighbor absolutely loved it, and suddenly orders started coming in. Now, her first few commercial cakes, complete disasters. Her own family told her she should just quit, but she pushed through. And as she baked, she entered what psychologists call flow state. This is when you are 100% focused on a perfectly challenging task. You lose track of time, you completely forget to check your phone, and ironically, despite the intense focus, you feel completely relaxed. Getting into flow can actually make you 500% more productive.
But here's the catch. Hitting that flow state requires getting through the initial failures, those brutal early stages where 80% of people usually just give up. And that requires grit. Coined by researcher Angela Duckworth, grit is simply passion plus perseverance. It's about pushing through those deeply uncomfortable periods, ignoring the critics, even when it's your own family telling you to stop, and just practicing deliberately day after day.
Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm exhausted, I don't have time to build grit. But author Josh Kaufman's rule proves you actually only need 20 hours to get reasonably good at a new skill. Guys, that is just 45 minutes a day for a single month. Remember Amit, our really depressed IT worker from earlier? To stop his severe panic attacks, he picked up wood carving, just a little hobby he did as a kid. He spent just 45 minutes a day doing it. Within weeks, his panic attacks subsided. Why? Because he had found his flow.
Section 4. The 3E Formula, your action plan.
Let's see how all this builds into an actionable system. How can you actually break out of your own middle-class trap starting tonight? Well, here is your practical roadmap. We call this the 3E Formula: explore, engage, and excel. It's a beautifully systematic approach to cultivating your passion completely from scratch. Step 1 is explore. Remember earlier when I said there are 12,000 careers out there? Okay, for the next 30 days, I want you to spend just 30 minutes a day researching entirely new fields. Look into marine biology, shoe painting, cloud kitchens, maybe being a trekking guide. Just make a list of 30 things that spark even a tiny bit of curiosity for you. And listen, there is zero pressure to commit to anything here. You are literally just expanding your horizon.
Step 2 is engage. Take 5 to 7 of those exciting careers you found and really get your hands dirty. Dedicate 20 hours, so that's about a month of those 45-minute daily sessions, to a real-world project for each one. If you think you might like photography, go take 100 photos at a friend's wedding for free. If you think you like writing, publish 10 blogs. If baking sounds fun, invite your neighbors over for a tasting. You really need to find out which of these activities actually puts you in that magic flow state.
Then we hit step 3, excel. Take the one single area where you felt the most flow and dedicate 6 solid months to it. This right here is where the grit happens. This is the grind. You have to build your skills until you are just so good they can't ignore you. The big goal here is to eventually generate a side income that equals about 30% to 50% of your primary salary, and only then do you even start planning your transition.
Section 5. The ultimate goal: building your ikigai.
As you master this 3E formula, I want you to remember that you aren't just looking for a quick side hustle. You're aiming for lifelong fulfillment. The ultimate goal here is the Japanese concept of ikigai. It's basically your core reason for waking up in the morning. Over in Okinawa, Japan, where they actively practice this, they literally have some of the longest lifespans on Earth, way lower heart attack risks, and get this, virtually no concept of retirement. Ikigai is the magical intersection of 4 pillars: what you love, what you are good at, what the world needs, and what you can actually get paid for.
But please, whatever you do, do not look at a diagram of Ikigai and try to solve it like a math problem. This is arguably the most important takeaway of this entire explainer. Ikigai is built, it is not discovered. You don't just magically find it on a map. Amit had no idea wood carving was his Ikigai on day 1. It took him a full year. Neha didn't know baking was hers until 14 months into the grind. You construct it, slowly, over time, with a whole lot of grit. Now, I know for a fact some of you are listening to this and generating a list of excuses. I'm too old, right? False. The average age for a major career change globally is actually 39 years old. Okay, what about I'm too broke? Also false. Neha started baking with her existing run-of-the-mill home oven. A set of acrylic paints to try shoe painting costs almost nothing. But my parents won't approve. Well, show them the results first. Just like Amit did when he made his very first $47 sale online. And trust me, all those questions will stop immediately.
And hey, if you are really worried about how this might affect your current job, a massive study out of San Francisco State University showed that having a side passion project actually improves your performance at your primary job. It actively increases your creativity and dramatically reduces burnout. You don't have to march in and quit tomorrow. Your passion project will honestly just make your 9-to-5 so much more bearable while you quietly build your exit strategy.
So, I leave you with this final, provocative thought. What is your excuse now? If there is a voice inside you, even a quiet one, saying you were meant for more than endless EMIs and mind-numbing spreadsheets, stop suppressing it. You have 45 minutes tonight. Don't spend it mindlessly scrolling on your phone. Spend it taking the very first step toward building your true ikigai. The clock is ticking.